This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome to Wish TV's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. As part of Circle City Broadcasting's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, this show speaks directly to entrepreneurs to help educate, inform, and provide necessary information to develop the skills needed to start and run a successful small business. Unlike any other show in the market, here the information comes from successful business owners and community leaders who actually live, work, and have a vested interest in this community. Our goal is to provide useful and compelling content that focuses on diversity, equity, and opportunities. Each of the show's 7 segments are designed to cover the important and frequently misunderstood topics that you will face when starting a small business. You can watch the show right here every week or catch the live stream on wishtv.com. Plus, you can access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. Our site will keep growing as the weeks go on with new content and additional resource information. Coming up on today's Business, Equity, and Opportunities, find out the 5 C's you need to consider before you ask for money. Take a look at this week in business and what you need to consider to brace for business crisis. Our first topic, getting started. Each week, this segment will focus on the things you should consider, think about, plan around, and prepare for as you begin. Those who've done it tell us one important step is to do your research.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Getting started in business without a support system in place can be challenging. Carolyn Mosby from Mid-States Minority Supplier Development Council talks about the importance of having a strong support system.
So I think, anyone that is going on the entrepreneurial journey, if you don't have the experience as an entrepreneur, there's a huge learning curve. Most entrepreneurs go into business because they have a passion for something or they have knowledge that they can apply as a business owner. But one of the things that we don't do is do research before we take that jump into entrepreneurism. So that can be a challenge, because if you go into a business that there isn't a market for your particular product or service or expertise, then you're already starting out at a deficit, And so one of the things that we advocate for is to make sure that you do your research, you understand who your customers are or who your potential customers are. And so the challenge of understanding where to find those resources to really help you start your business, sustain it, and grow it, and to really look for those opportunities. Some people have a hard time making those connections, right? And so connecting to organizations like mine and others. And so one of the things that most of us in this space don't do is that we're not very proactive about going out and seeking the minority and diverse entrepreneurs to take advantage of our services. It's a very reactive type of service that we provide, and we really should be more proactive, because if we were more proactive, I think the connection point between those diverse entrepreneurs and organizations like mine and others, those connection points would happen a lot sooner.
What questions should you be asking when seeking a support system? Carolyn has a few suggestions.
I think, what services can we provide, and understanding, they should ask, what do they need in order to take advantage of the services, and how do those services connect with their business goals? Because I tell people all the time, everyone doesn't need to be certified as a diverse-owned company, because you have to understand, 1, what certification is. 2, when you're certified, what does that mean? Who is your potential customer, and do they recognize certification? Do they embrace supplier diversity? Do they do business with diverse suppliers? If you can't answer yes to those questions, there's probably no reason to be certified. Many people that come to us for certification come to us because someone told them to. But at the same time, if you're the business owner, you should research to see if that's right for your business. And again, Once you get it, how are you going to leverage it? How are you going to use it? Are you going to be able to leverage it with those potential customers? If not, then it may not be something that you need. And then there are different types of certification, right? So you've got to do your research to understand what certification do you need. Some you pay for, some you don't. Some are only for doing business with government, some are only for doing business with corporate America. So you really have to understand the landscape and then see how those apply to your business, because it is a very cumbersome process. You have to do a lot of paperwork. So why spend the time investing in all of that paperwork to get something that's not going to be beneficial to your company?
Certification for your new business can affect the growth and development of your company. Carolyn continues with more about getting certified.
Absolutely. I think it should be part of your business plan and the plan for the growth and development and sustainability of your company. Because at the end of the day, a brand new company that has $0 in sales and that doesn't have a track record is not going to be able to walk into a major corporation and get a multi-million-dollar contract. That's just not realistic for any business that's brand new. So there's certain steps that you need to take in order to build your business to a point that you're ready to even have those conversations with those type of potential customers.
Still to come, Matthew Murphy III has tips about what you need to do before you ask for capital. We'll look at how you might be able to access tuition dollars to get a tech edge. And in our industry focus this week, successful business owner John Thompson takes us inside the work of product distribution to get your vision to your customers. Be sure to find more online at beoshow.com. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. We'll be right back.
Getting Started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back. Access to capital, as we keep stressing, is one of the things every new business owner must address. But how do you go about asking for money?
From Wish TV, this is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Before taking the steps to secure funding on a new business, there are a few things you should consider. Matthew Murphy III, founder of Emboss Partners, suggests some very important things to do before asking.
So I actually think that process should start before the ask. So again, networking, getting to know a banker or your banker before the need surfaces. Now that's the optimal way to do it, because generally, as much as it probably doesn't sound like it, business owners are really selling themselves and their ability to drive the results necessary for the outcomes that are found in that business plan. So for people to get to know each other, business to business, I think is essential for cementing a good relationship before the lending resources ever come to the table. But having said that, I will also share that having been a former banker, and I've worked for more than one bank, and have worked with bankers of all sizes around the country, actually. There is a common set of metrics that banks think about, whether they articulate it in this way or not. These are the five. And at the top of the list is called the 5 C's of lending. At the top of the list is character. That has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with personalities. It has to do with reputation. It has to do with keeping your word and being accountable for what you say you're going to deliver. So bankers are always looking for high character individuals to be, servants of the financial resources that banks are going to ultimately put in. And then the other 4 C's are not in this order necessarily, but one would be conditions. I talked about it just a minute ago. What are the conditions of this business inside the industry that it operates in, inside the geography that it operates in? Conditions are something that bankers look to do research on and understand and play the what-if games as they do kind of some sensitivity analysis around, well, they said that they're going to do X, but what if Y happens? So conditions are important. The third C is cash flow. If you're trying to borrow money from a bank and you don't have positive cash flow, you're probably not going to get a business loan from a bank. So cash flow, it's measurable, and they would like to see it repeatable and sustainable for as long as the money is out the door. Because bankers not only want their money returned, but they want a return on their money, which is the interest rate. So the fourth C would be collateral. Does the business have sufficient collateral to give the bank a secondary source of repayment if the first source of repayment, cash flow, fails? So measuring collateral, equity in real estate, the value of fixed assets, on and on and on. Am I at 4? I guess the fifth C would be capacity. So banks spend a lot of time on the numbers and the analysis of the financials to understand the capacity that a business has to borrow the amount of money they're trying to borrow. And what we mean by that is, if you're trying to borrow $100 and your business only makes $10, there could be some doubt about the capacity to make that work over an appropriate, reasonable amount of time. So those are the 5 C's that banks are actually thinking about as they look at businesses to lend to. I think the business plan has to address those 5 C's. Certainly the financial statements have to speak to it in terms of not only the historical numbers, but the projected numbers. They have to be reasonable. And then I think it has to, again, be a relationship that fits both the bank and the business. Not every bank is created equal. Some community banks look for smaller types of businesses to support. We have what we call money center banks, the larger organizations that are really global in their reach, and everything in between. So I think that's pretty much the understanding that an applicant going into a bank has to think about ahead of that first conversation.
Up next, this week in business, how current events can change your bottom line in an instant. You're watching Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities on Wish TV. I'm Scott Sander. Successful business owners know the importance of staying on top of the latest local news. Current events in the world and in the community can have an enormous effect on a small business. Each week, we plan to highlight local business events, news stories, other opportunities that you can explore to keep you in the know about what is happening in the world of business. We will also highlight special learning and networking opportunities. Big businesses and nonprofits often hold seminars and conferences that offer such insight. Two such opportunities happened earlier this month. J.P. Morgan Chase held a well-attended panel discussion at the NCAA Hall of Champions. The topic? Celebrating Black entrepreneurship. The event brought together leaders of the Indianapolis business community to discuss topics like entrepreneurship, creating generational wealth through ownership, and insights about business scaling. Rodney Miller was the moderator. He's a J.P. Morgan Chase Vice President of Investment Banking. The panel included Alan Bacon and Mally Simone Jeffers. They are the founders of Gang Gang, a cultural development firm based right here in Indianapolis. Dewan McCoy also served on the panel. We know him well here as the president and CEO of our parent company, Circle City Broadcasting.
So when I start going to conventions, people would say, hey, and they would, so it kind of built up. Then I start going to panels like we're doing here. I would go to New York, I would go to DC, I would go to the Hill, I would lobby, and I would be the only person there representing diversity. So once I got in the game, it just fell in my lap, the responsibility and what I was paving, and honestly can say this, J.P. Morgan's the real deal on diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Many organizations are streaming their conferences and events. Wish TV was proud to be a partner for the InnoPower Minority Business Conference and live streamed the two-day event on wishtv.com. The conference showcased minority business owners and professionals offering new insights into the organizations and community leaders who champion the cause of business equity and inclusion.
Don't be afraid to take a step back on paper. Right? I'm always going to tell people, don't take a step back in pay, because pay black people, okay?
You already said to play with my money, I'm with you.
Right. But if, again, we can get caught up in title.
Yeah. And
I say that from a personal reflection. I got caught up in title and almost missed out on an opportunity that elevated me. And so, look at how it will, elevate you, but don't get caught up just solely in title, because that can actually, be detrimental.
I kind of pride myself on being able to be a mentor. I feel like it's our responsibility, as Black and brown professionals to upbring and uplift others in the community and be able to provide sound advice. And so in that instance, I've had many conversations actually like this before, like just previously, like this past week. Where, again, you have to outweigh the pros and cons. So, yes, you just got this opportunity. What does this next opportunity look like? Where's your passion at? Which one is you're going to find the most fulfillment at? And which one do you ultimately think is you're going to be able to utilize the most to get to your end goal?
You can see the entire conference on wishtv.com. When we come back, one of the most important areas that every business owner must get a handle on, the accounting and bookkeeping. You must know your numbers to succeed. When we come back, we get an expert opinion on exactly why it's so necessary. Stay here for more insights on business, equity, and opportunities.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Our accounting and bookkeeping segment takes us back to school, possibly a way for an entrepreneur to get an edge over the competition. But how do you know if it's the right investment and what financial options are available?
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Scott Jones is the founder and president of 1150 Academy, where you can learn many technical skills that'll come in handy when you start a new business. So how do you decide if you need to invest in your technology future?
It's very interesting. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who are trying to get into business, and they have a wonderful, brilliant idea, but by and large, most of those ideas are enabled by or disabled by a knowledge of tech. And if you don't know it, it's not like every entrepreneur has to be good at tech to implement it themselves. But if they want to have a team that's building it and manage them, whether it's project management or product management or any of that, you better know tech so that you can, I like to say, call BS on the team, right? Like, no, that's not how this is gonna work. It doesn't take 9 months to do that. That takes 1 month. And it takes 2 people, not 5, right? And so when I'm coaching entrepreneurs, I am saying, you could learn it all yourself, and you can do it these days in 90 or 180 days, and I know plenty of people who have. If you don't want to do it, if that's not where you're wired, then you're going to have to hire people. You should still learn what it is and take that 90 days to understand it, or take the 180 days part-time to understand it. And the cost to do it is so low compared to what it was in the old days of college and universities, where you take 4 years to learn these things. It literally takes 90 or 180 days. Now it's immersion, right? And it's accelerated, but that's really what you need. There's perfect opportunities here to skill up in tech quickly enough for your needs, whether you're the coder or whether you're the overseer or the project manager or the marketer, right? Individuals and businesses can get the funding for this kind of education, this kind of training. So there are federal sources, there are state sources, there are charitable sources, but what used to cost $120,000 for a public university, 4-year degree, which is, by the way, not the real cost. The real cost is the 4 years that you spent getting that degree that you should have been making 60 grand plus, so that's $250,000 plus the $120,000. That's what your bank account saw, is the lack of $360,000, right? So that's the real cost. Today, you can get that the tech training, the tech components of the training for about $3,000, like out of pocket. That's our average. And many people are going through fully funded or fully financed at 0% financing. You don't pay anything until you have a good job. So, the options today are amazing.
Proper accounting and bookkeeping are very important parts of any new business. Matthew Murphy III, founder of Emboss Partners, talks about the importance of keeping your finances on track and common mistakes to avoid.
In my experience, I think business owners tend to be passionate about their businesses. Generally, they have a very strong understanding of the industry dynamics of their business. So they tend to focus on the marketing and branding of their businesses by this networking we've been talking about, and boasting on the capabilities of the business to deliver and to solve problems and to make customers happy. So the marketing side of it, I think, gets a lot of attention. I think most businesses don't understand how important it is for the financial side of the house to be even more prominent in terms of the ongoing operational balance that a business needs. Cash flow is king. So things like accounts receivable, you sold the product or service to the customer, but did you get paid? And if you got paid, did you get paid in 90 days or did you get paid in 20 days? It matters. And did you get paid in 90 days because you failed to invoice on time? Because the customer's not going to pay you until you invoice them and say that they owe you. So those are some of the nuances on the financial side of the house that really, I say, is really a discipline. It's every day. Marketing, not so much every day, although happy customers are doing some marketing for you kind of behind the scenes. But I think the financial side of the house is where a lot of business owners in the early stages of their companies kind of have not as much of a focus as needed.
You're watching Wish TV's Business, Equity, and Opportunities, our new show designed for people interested in starting their own small business. For more information on all of our topics, check out our website, beoshow.com. You can access all of our segments and resources on demand. And be sure to sign up for our Business, Equity, and Opportunities newsletter. When we come back, how to make sure your small business can handle any emergency.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. We've talked about getting your business started, accessing capital, and some ways you can learn more about the tech side of your company. Now we turn our attention to running your business day to day. If you are starting a new business, you may well face an unexpected business crisis. To help you prepare this week, we explore the importance of creating a crisis management plan.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
Deanna Hayworth, the COO of Hirons, explores some of the potential dangers that small business owners may need to face and why it's vital that you make a crisis strategy as part of your business plan.
So a specialty in our business is crisis management and crisis communication. So whenever we get the chance to talk to entrepreneurs and business leaders, I always encourage them to think about their crisis plan. In our world, that's very narrowly focused on crisis communications and response. You may have a broader incident response strategy that you have as a business, but thinking about the crisis communications portion of that plan. So what if your business burns to the ground? What if an employee makes a really bad decision and you're looking at embezzlement or other bad business practices? What if social media turns on you and you're dealing with something that can be wholly fake and false, but it is attacking your business? You need to be ready for those incidents. So we recommend an issues management approach, which is really fleshing out 3 to 5 different scenarios that are likely to hit your company. And we want you to really cover the range, but you think about messaging and response, you think about who the spokesperson would need to be, you think about those early holding statements that you may need to share with those that are inquiring before you're ready. Think about all of the different audiences that might need to be touched in that moment and tidy up your contact management. Make sure you know who to contact when and who that messenger should be. Even those small preparation steps can help you as a crisis hits. You're most likely going to be close to one of those 4 or 5 scenarios that you fleshed out, and you'll have a starting point at a moment when every second that passes is meaningful to your company succeeding through this crisis. As we talk to business leaders, we find that it rings true now more than ever that leadership is lonely. And so we want to make sure that these leaders have mentors in their lives that are helping them through the good times and the tough times. They might be faced with decisions. Certainly during the pandemic over the past few years, many of us were faced with decisions that we never thought we would even be considering. And so making sure that you have mentors in your own circle that are supporting you, but also we are very committed to making sure that we're giving back. Tom Hirons had very strong, important mentors in his career, and still to this day, we try to encourage mentorship through our agency. So we have a Be Bold mentorship program where our employees can request mentorships with other more senior members of our firm and really see maybe a path forward or get some help with decisions that we're making. We also are really committed to building our industry. So I've personally worked with a lot of woman-owned and Black-owned businesses in our space to help them form their business, get certified in the right way that makes sense for them, really grow and amplify their services, make new connections. We succeed when we have others in our industry that are also succeeding, so giving back in that way is so important. We also have a real commitment to lifelong learning. Our CEO, Jim Parham, just finished his PhD, and many of our team members teach at the university level in advertising, branding, public relations. We need to grow the practitioners and the strategists of tomorrow, and so we want to really start at that college and university level of giving back.
Thanks to Dina Hayworth, COO of Hirons. Join us every week for our Running Your Business day-to-day segments to find more tips and insights from the experts to help you run your business successfully. Still to come, our industry focus looks at the business of businesses keeping each other in business. We talked to the owner of one of the leading distribution companies in the state, John Thompson. He shares insight into his industry coming up on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Stay with us.
Running Your Business, made possible by 1150 Academy. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back. I'm Scott Sander. Each week on Business, Equity, and Opportunities, we will focus on a specific industry in business and get insights from people that keep it going. This week, we look at a company that focuses on business-to-business transactions.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
John Thompson, the chairman and CEO of Thompson Industries, specializes in B2B, business to business, referring to transactions between companies that don't involve consumers.
I went into Mays Chemical as a chemical industry executive and thought, that I'd be in the chemical industry for the rest of my life. But business is always bifurcated, trifurcated, broken down into 10, 12 different components. What do I mean? Well, at Mays Chemical, we were distributing chemicals. So right there, that's two major things. One is the chemical industry. The other is distribution. I was a B2B industrial marketing guy. I sold, and I still today, I do better when I'm selling to other businesses, not to consumers. I'm not a B2C guy. I invest in B2C companies, but that's not my skill set. And it's not one that I'm trying to develop. So I don't operate any business to consumer businesses. So when I left Mays Chemical after 17 and a half years, I was still a chemical industry guy. My Rolodex was full of chemical industry connections, but I was also a distributor selling to businesses. A pipe, valve, and fitting distributor came up for sale, Mutual Pipe and Supply. It was at that time, I've been at Mays 17 and a half years, I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm like, if I'm going to start a business, it's now or never. Didn't need to, had a lot of success at Mays, could have retired and not worked anywhere, because we had a lot of success, and I do mean a lot. But I don't ever plan to retire. I plan to cut back, get rid of deadlines, but retirement is not something that I plan to do. I said, well, it's now or never, so I bought that particular company in 2001. I added electrical supplies and underground supplies to that company, which I enjoyed quite a bit. The electrical supply business grew fastest. I used equity to recruit some talent. I wanted some talent that had grown up in the electrical supply business. With a new company, I couldn't afford to pay them. So we used equity to recruit them. Now, they paid for the equity, but made it available at a reasonable price. And I encourage folks to do that. You don't have to keep all the equity. You can use it to attract talent. Anyway, the electrical business grew very rapidly. Next year, 2000, before we even spun off the electrical business, I invested in an engineering design firm, full service engineering design. And I was an investor, but I didn't own controlling interest. And then over time, I bought control of that business, and then I bought 100% of that business. So today I own 100%. By the time I owned 100%, that was last year. By the time I owned control, it was 2007. A millwork company, wood, solid surface like Corian, plastic laminate company to produce like this desk, came up where I could buy controlling interest in it. So in 2008, I bought controlling interest in that business. And so at that point, in 2008, I owned 51% or more of 4 companies. And then I bought other companies and merged them with those companies. And then all the while attracting very talented people. And that's how I've grown with talented people. So I'm always on the lookout for very skilled, very talented people. And that's how I'm able to do all the things that I do, because I have a lot of talented folks around me. And they have a fair amount of autonomy. I don't try to micromanage them. They don't work on something all day and then I'm gonna parachute down out of the blue, don't know anything about it and say, oh no, don't do that, do that. No, they know more about it than me. So I let them make the decision. I'll coach, and say, hey, you might consider this as you're making that decision. But I try not to second guess my managers. Then there are a lot of things that I do, selling at a high level to customers, dealing with the bank in terms of getting financing in place and dealing with legal. And then, as I said, working with customers at a high level often.
Our thanks to John Thompson, Chairman and CEO of Thompson Distribution, for taking us behind the scenes. John is also a board member of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and we'll be hearing his expertise frequently on business equity and opportunities. Coming up, Dina Hayworth returns to share her own success story and some of the history of Hirons that she helped shape. We'll be right back.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Finally on our program is something every entrepreneur hopes for in business: success. Each week on Business Equity and Opportunities, we will share a success story from one of our business contributors. This week we share a small glimpse of the history of local ad agency Hirons and how Dina Hayworth found her way into the advertising business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities Success Story.
Dina Hayworth is a 20-year veteran of the advertising business and serves for many as an example of how hard work and dedication can help you grow within a company.
So my path through Hirons has been very interesting. I just celebrated my 22nd anniversary here. So when people ask what risks I've taken, I guess my risk is that I stayed. I found out about this career and this line of business through an internship that I had in college at a healthcare system on the south side of Indianapolis. We were invited as interns to help assess the advertising agency pitches that the health system was going through at that time to find a new agency of record. And as I experienced that, I thought, oh, this is what I want to do. I need to find this path for myself. And so through a friend from high school, actually, I was connected with Hirons, which at that point was headquartered in Bloomington, Indiana, and started there, really found myself in the right place at the right time with the right skill set. We were looking to build out our public relations practice more fully, and I actually started the same time as our now CEO, Dr. Jim Parham. He's been my boss for 22 years, which is another interesting wrinkle in my career. But at Hirons, we do different projects every day, substantial efforts on a campaign. So it's really like I've had 100 jobs in the 22 years that I've been here. So we were founded in 1978 by Tom Hirons. When he graduated from IU Bloomington, he put together a handful of clients and from there built the really successful business that we are today. That foundation that he set for us has benefited us. We innovated almost from day one. He opened offices in China in the 80s and 90s. We started our digital practice in the 90s before people really understood what the web and digital would even mean for our industry. We also delved heavily in the early 2000s in public relations as an area of practice that benefits us yet today, and have just really continued to push ourselves to make sure that we were bold in our thinking and able to meet all of our clients' needs as they evolved. So as Tom Hirons was thinking about what was next for him, there were lots of options on the table for us. We could be sold, we could merge with another entity that was much like us. And as we were exploring the options, we looked really carefully at the ESOP, which is an employee ownership program. So we had a plan to sell the company to the employees over a 10-year period. We actually accelerated that and did it in 7 years. So we are 100% employee owned now. It's been really great for our employee owners to build a different kind of wealth and invest in themselves as they build their career here at Hirons. So our mantra of be bold is something that we hope our employee owners are living out every day. We want to make sure that we're pushing for the best idea, not stopping for the first or the most obvious idea, and really taking chances to meet our clients' needs and continue to grow our business.
I love it. I love the concept of the show because I think when I heard the first about the idea, my whole thought process was this can be a platform to give, Jane Smith, Joe Smith, whoever is sitting and watching this show, just an opportunity to really look and say, maybe it's not as far as I thought. Maybe it's right within my reach if I really do assess my risk, understand how to be capitalized, and put myself in the best place to be able to work whatever plan I have. And that's what I'm hoping that anything I'm giving in this segment or anybody else is able to inspire others to do.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I'm out in the community and people have never heard of LISC or don't know exactly what we do. And so we're grateful for segments like this because it gives us an opportunity to tell our story, but it also gives the community an opportunity to hear the story and to hear what services, we provide.
Giving entrepreneurs, would-be business owners, management teams, the opportunity to know where resources are, whether they be the financial resource providers or the technical assistance that companies need to put together their business plans, to work with accounting firms for their financial needs, and a myriad of other services that are all necessary for any level business to succeed and grow and thrive.
But it's for entrepreneurship. And Indiana, we've been in the bottom 3 states in terms of new business formation. And we got to move up. You know, we can't be in the bottom 3 states. We got to strive to get to the middle and then to the upper half, and then continue to strive to get higher and higher. Encourage new business formation. Entrepreneurs like me, great, but we have to have more of it and work with and get the word out that these resources are there. And that's where you all come in. And you have mouthpieces like me. I'm happy to sit down with you, but many others as well. No one can do a better job getting the word out than you guys.
When I heard about the program, I was really excited because it gives some visibility to the business community, the diverse business community, and some of the struggles, some of the opportunities. It highlights some very successful businesses that are not necessarily relying on, certification or goals from different corporations, but they actually have viable companies that can compete with other non-minority owned firms. And I think probably some of the businesses that you'll be speaking with, that will be very evident.
I really think the Business Equity Opportunity show is a great idea. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know what questions to ask. So having a program that's going to share with you some business principles from some leaders in the community that saw their fair share of success and failure is going to help accelerate your learning curve. It's going to help you become a better business owner a lot faster.
Thanks again to Dina Hayworth and all of our contributors for giving their time to help make this episode of Business Equity and Opportunities possible. We hope you found the information enlightening, useful, inspiring. Be sure to watch the show right here every week. It also live streams through wishtv.com. You can also access all of our content and share it on demand at any time through beoshow.com. There you can also sign up for our new Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter and get even more valuable up-to-date information. And soon you'll be able to catch the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Join us again next week for more insights into the world of small business on Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for watching.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation and 1150 Academy.